matchup. Welcome inside Sherry Parker Lee Stadium on this beautiful Tuesday night. Alongside the former Lady Vol, Riley West, I'm Jill Jelnick. The Highlanders coming off a series sweep over Gardner-Webb over the weekend. Meanwhile, Tennessee Lady Vols had the weekend off, a rare weekend off from the SEC and softball play. They haven't played since their last midweek game to Duke last Wednesday as they fell to the Blue Devils on that midweek matchup. Riley, what can a rest like this do for a team for Tennessee?
It can honestly just make you come out even more fresh in a midweek, but we can also talk about how this can pose a challenge of being a trap game when you're not playing a team in conference, and we'll talk about it later, but the weekend that Tennessee has ahead of them.
Tennessee will turn to their right-handed junior, Sage Margetko, top 3 ERA in the country, and a big reason why she loves to spin the ball.
Sage Margetko has one of the highest spin rates in the country, and she's able to do that all out of one tunnel. So as a batter, it all looks like the same pitch until it doesn't, which that's about 15 feet out in front where you try to identify it. So she can go in all 4 quadrants as well as throw off speeds in those same 4 quadrants. So it's going to be really hard for these Radford hitters to be able to pick and decide which pitch to go for.
Margetko making her 15th start of the season, and she will face a Radford Highlanders offense hitting .278 right now, 5th best batting average in the Big South. And the first pitch to Peyton Simmons comes in as a ball low in the zone. Simmons leading things off for the Highlanders. Behind her, Isabel Harrison and Dakota Redmond round out the top 3. Simmons hitting a team high .404, hottest bat on the team, and one of the catalysts for head coach Kevin Fagan in his 2nd season with the Highlanders. When she goes, the rest of the team goes. She loves to set the tone, top the lineup.
And that's exactly what Coach Fagan said, is she's a contact hitter. She's going to put the ball in play, going to try and make the defense move their feet.
Team high 59 hits this season. She fouls another one off. She went 4 for 10 this past weekend with 2 runs scored. Their series against Gardner-Webb, their 3rd series win in Big South play. The defending Big South regular season champions fell short in the tournament last year, trying to get back to the postseason. Simmons fouls another one off. Good battle here to start this one.
And that's a difficult position to be in as a team when you play so well in the regular season, and then that tournament where you lose and you don't make it to postseason. So games like this against top-ranked opponents are going to teach you how to play in that tournament at the end of the year when you have one game to be able to score some runs and beat a team.
2-2 pitch from Margetko goes up high, another foul ball. Radford only has one more conference series left. That's this weekend against Winthrop. Right now, Highlanders are tied for that 3rd place spot. The top 5 teams in the conference make it to that conference tournament, so it's imperative they continue their momentum. Swing and a miss. First strikeout of the day for Sage Margetko.
And that was a great sequence of pitches by Margetko. She finally went to that flip change. It was over the heart of the plate, but Peyton Simmons just caught out in front. She did a very great job of fouling off a bunch of pitches. So although the result was a strikeout, you have to applaud her of passing down information to the rest of her lineup.
First pitch to Isabel Harrison, high and inside for strike 1. That was Margetko's 121st strikeout this season, already surpassed her total from last year. This is her 2nd season on Rocky Top after she transferred over from South Carolina 2 years ago. She most recently came on in relief for Carlin Pickens in their midweek matchup last week against Duke. Came in during the 1st inning and essentially kind of took on that starter role.
Yes, that game against Duke, a lot happened in that 1st inning. Carlin Pickens only threw 5 pitches, was hit out the game. Sage Margetko came in, but Karen Weekly talks about this pitching staff, how close they are and how they're able to support one another. So she put them in a position early on.
And already Sage Margetko dealing early on. Back-to-back strikeouts to start this game.
And Margetko just painting that inside corner, going there with a curveball. And where she spots that on the line with 2 strikes, just that veteran mentality we were talking about, and how Karen Weekly, she set them up in positions earlier this year to be able to be the starter, be the reliever, and come in. And you can see how that's played out through SEC play. If one of the pitchers struggles, another one can come in and pick up for the other one in the staff.
Strike one to Dakota Redmond. You mentioned how Coach Weekly set her staff up early on. Big swing and miss at a rise ball there for strike two. A lot of that happened non-conference play. A lot of different starts from each pitcher on her staff, making sure that they don't just have one ace, they have three different aces. 0-2 pitch from Marjeko. Gets her looking, strike three. Sage Marjeko strikes out the side.
And Sage Marjeko just spinning it so well this inning. She got batter Redmond to freeze because she previously went up with the rise ball and then just paints the corner for the strikeout.
Lady Vols hosting the Radford Highlanders out of the Big South Conference for a midweek matchup. The Highlanders turning to their senior right-hander, Madison Sabo, to try to set the tone here, go against a potent Tennessee Lady Vols offense.
And when we talked to Coach Fagan for Radford, he said, we're probably going to be using all of our staff, but I like this start with Madison Sabo. She has a ton of experience in this circle as a senior, but her go-to pitch is that off-speed and the changeup, so just disrupting the timing of batters. And with a lineup as potent, like you mentioned, Jill, as Tennessee's, that is definitely going to be something she's going to need to spot for a strike early in the count.
And a welcome sight to see at the top of this lineup, Sophia Knight, who has missed the last 7 games due to an illness, is now making her reappearance into the Tennessee Lady Vols lineup tonight. Great to have Knight to start things off.
And what better way to get thrown back in the game than going back to that leadoff spot. Sometimes coaches like to put them further down in lineup so they can get back to seeing pitches, but Sophia Knight, you know, she's been locked in through those 7 games that she missed. So coming back as leadoff is just no surprise.
Talking to the Tennessee staff, she was able to dress last week for the Duke game, but wasn't going to play, and then practiced with them. But Riley, when you have a week off, both physically and mentally, what's the biggest challenge when you come back?
It's definitely seeing pitches, because you take those 7 games off from an illness, so you're not able to stand in the box like maybe if you had an injury to a part of your body where you could potentially still step in the bullpen. And so being able to see as many pitches as possible is going to be essential for her to get back in the groove.
Lays off the rise ball, brings the count 3-0. That was always one of Sophia Knight's strength, being able to find a way on, be patient in the box any way that you can. 14 walks on the season. Take strike one, bring the count 3-1. In her absence, Coach Weekly went with Gabby Leach at the top of the lineup 6 times, and then Ella Dodge at the top of the lineup last week with Duke. Both times it seemed like Tennessee able to get something going, but I know they're happy to have Sophia Knight back as she takes that one, it looked like off her knob. So a free base for Sophia Knight and a runner aboard.
When you take a look at it, the pitch just gets away from Sabo. It looks like a curve, and it looked like it hit her elbow guard. So as a batter, that's the best place to possibly get hit.
Welcome back to the lineup, Sophia Knight. Now this will bring up Ella Dodge, 2-hole hitter. Takes strike one outside. As we said, she led off for Tennessee in their midweek game against Duke last week. Had a very good series also against Kentucky the weekend before.
And this Tennessee lineup is young. Ella Dodge is one of the more veterans on the team, but she still didn't play a ton of SEC games last year. So for her to step up in that leadoff spot in the middle of SEC and then also against Duke, she really did have to step up for the team. But her eye and her patience at the plate, I think, is why she was so successful. She hones in on exactly what pitch she's looking for and then puts her best swing on it. Karen Weekly gives her a lot of praise for being clutch and going after 100% at that game plan.
Dodge rolls this over foul. Coach Weekly has been very open about this offense this season and how it is very youthful, and they do not have a lot of hitters with a ton of experience. You have the Leach sisters, Gabby and Alana Leach, of course, but then after that, a lot of younger hitters in the lineup, and it also a reason why there's been some ups and downs in the SEC. Grounder over to short, toss to second. They get the out at 2, but not in time to catch Dodge at first. So Highlanders able to get the lead runner out and dodges a board.
And that was a great pitch by Sabo on the outside corner, but an even smarter play by Grace Bechtel there, the shortstop. The ball took her in, but she still understood the speed and direction, so was able to turn her body to get that toss and that lead out of Sophia Knight. And being able to eliminate Sophia Knight on the base paths is very essential because of her speed. She can turn a double into a triple and just always gets those extra bases.
Excellent point. So one down for the Highlanders defense, still one runner aboard, and now Alana Leach, the three-hole hitter at the plate, hitting .354 coming into tonight. Team high 11 home runs on the season. Talked about her being one of the veterans on this team along with her sister. They had a great series against Kentucky. Also went yard against Duke. A home run apiece for the Leach sisters, almost single-handedly hit them back into the game. As this one looks like it was fouled, but just goes off the glove of Wolf behind the plate. So free bag for Dodge as she moves up 60 feet. Here's another look at this one.
And I honestly thought it either had hit Alana Leach or there was some sound that it hit her knob, but based on the umpire's reaction in Alana Leach, there wasn't. So Sabo right now is having a hard time working into left-handed batters with her curveball. She likes to stay down in the zone, like you can tell there, but just having a hard time spotting it down in the zone.
That one misses for ball 4, so free bag for Alana Leach. 2 runners aboard for Tennessee, and now head coach Kevin Fagan gonna call timeout, take a moment to talk to his defense.
And I think if you're Madison Sabo, you have to understand the only ball put in play wasn't hit super hard from Ella Dodge, and so if you can just continue to spot pitches, you'll put yourself in a good spot. You just have to trust your defense.
Not an easy thing to do when you're going up against the 4-hole hitter Emma Clark. In .277, 9 home runs. In their series against Kentucky, she just recorded her second leadoff home run of the season. So she loves to get things going for Lady Vols. Cleveland, North Carolina native in her sophomore season here on Rocky Top. Takes ball 1 outside. Highlanders defense looks to be in double play depth. Right now, they just need to get an out.
Definitely, and if you're Emma Clark, you have to understand that Sabo might even try to come in on you, induce a ground ball to that left side for the force out. So you have to look something over the heart of the plate, especially when Sabo hasn't been pitching very many strikes. So I do like that swing right there from Clark. It was over the plate, and she took a good hack at it. But going back to the defense, the outfielders right now are just a few steps away from the warning track. So base runners for Tennessee need to see that and understand a bloop hit maybe off the end of the bat, they can really go for 2 bases.
Misses for ball 2. Clark had one of her best games of the season just 2 weeks ago in a midweek against ETSU. She went 3 for 3, 2 home runs, 3 RBI. So certainly makes sense why the outfield is respecting her power. 2-1 pitch from Sabo. Brings the count 3-1.
And Emma Clark is one of the batters that earlier in the season, Karen Weekly wanted to see more out of. And on this back half of SEC play, I really think she's been one of the leaders along with Alana Leach of just putting great swings on balls and hitting them hard and getting things going for the offense.
Clark. High to left field. Simmons is underneath it, makes the grab for out number 2. Much needed out for the Highlanders defense.
It was, but that was a great pitch by Madison Sabo in the circle, going in on Clark on the hands, inducing that weaker pop-up. And that's the exact position that you want to throw it when there's runners on first and second, because if she hits a pop-up, your left side of your defense has your back, but a ground ball, you can also get a force out.
2 runners on here for Gabby Leach, 2 outs. Takes first pitch, ball outside. Gabby Leach riding a 6-game hitting streak. One of those more experienced hitters in the lineup for Coach Weekly. Hitting .310, 33 RBI, second most on the team. She hits .366 with 2 outs. Lays off the low one, brings the count 2-0.
And right now, Sabo, if she can spot these pitches earlier in the count, she will be in more control of each at bat. She's gotten a few weak hits, but as long as she hits those spots, which is one of the things that Coach Fagan for Radford had told us, was he's going to have to use his whole pitching staff, but they have to attack, they have to hit spots and let their stuff move for itself.
Pitch by committee approach for the Highlanders in the circle today. Sabo trying to set the tone. Gets a strike on Gabby Leach. Brings the count 3-1. Highlanders looking to compete today. They know it's a tough task ahead of them, going up against a top 10 team. Coach Fagan says he just wants his players play to their potential, compete the best they can. Fouls this one down the right sideline. And on the flip side for Tennessee, this is a great opportunity for the Lady Vols. Try to get back into rhythm after having 5 days off and build some momentum going into their SEC series against Alabama this weekend.
And that series is going to be one of the biggest of their SEC plays and also in the country for this weekend. And so if they can get and build some confidence after not having to see a different pitcher for a while, that could be big for them.
Leach pops it up, easy out for Bossler. And the Lady Vols leave 2 runners on, and Highlanders eliminate the threat early on. We are scoreless after the first on Rocky Top. Stay with us. You're watching Tennessee softball on SEC Plus. Season at Radford. He was named the Big South Coach of the Year just his first year after leading the Highlanders to the Big South regular season title. They finished 24th in Division I mid-major poll. And unfortunately, their run came to an end in the conference tournament, but able to pick up the team's 5th Big South title in program history, trying to continue that momentum here in year 2.
And definitely once you've had that first year under your belt and you understand what it takes to win that tournament, you know what it takes and you can move from there. And we talked to him about the culture change that he brought to Radford and just the experience that he's had and being able to continue to move forward and what a game like this means for his team and helps them prepare for that tournament later on this year.
7 returners from last year's Big South regular season championship team, but also 8 newcomers with 6 freshmen, so a lot of new faces for Radford, including the 4-hole hitter, Mally Groves. At the plate here, big cut from Sage Marjetko's pitch. Groves hitting .297, leads the team with 33 RBI, 5 homers on the year. But she has a tough task going up against Sage Marjetko, who struck out the side to start the game.
And earlier in that first inning, she's been really reliant on that curveball. So if I'm a Radford hitter right now, I'm getting into the box and I'm going to sell out for that outer half on the plate, drive something to right field.
Kind of like that pitch right there. That's a tough one. It has some spin there as well.
Yeah, we talked about Sage Marjetko's spin rate, and so she's really able to move the ball. So as a batter, you have to let it travel deeper into the zone and drive it the opposite way.
Misses outside, evens the count 2-2. Marjetko pitched twice during the Kentucky series 2 weekends ago, earned the win in game 2, also came on in relief in game 3. As Groves fouls that one off. Talked about her spin, and then also what makes her so dynamic, the speed. When she does mix in the rise and the off speed, it's another problem to deal with as a hitter.
Yeah, that off speed that she has is filthy.
Groves pops this up, shallow center. Calling for it is Knight, and she'll make the grab for out number 1.
Just another good pitch by Sage Marjetko. Coming in, it doesn't always look like to your bare eye that it's moving a ton until a batter swings and you can see it spin right off the bat. So that pretty high pop-up and good communication by Sophia Knight in center field. Both the middle infielders for Tennessee retreating back, but Knight, I could hear her up here in the box calling them off.
First pitch to Haley Scott comes in as a strike out of Claremont, Florida. Marjeko so far has retired first 4 batters of the game. We always talk about in-game adjustments. And for the Highlanders, they got to make them quick just the first time through the lineup.
Definitely, and you know Sage Marjeko, she has an elite changeup. So that first time through, most oftentimes you don't see the changeup from the pitcher. They use that in later innings. So right now when she's sitting with 1 speed, that's when you want to attack most and put your best swing on the ball. The other hard part is when you get that pitch and you go for it, Radford's been fouling a lot of them off. And so that puts them at the mercy of Sage Marjeko rather than putting a barrel on it and trying to drive it right up the middle for a hit.
Marjeko ahead in the count, 0-2. High upstairs for ball 1 to Scott. Scott started her career at College of Central Florida with coach Kevin Fagan before he came over to Radford. There it is, that nasty changeup gets her looking. Make that 4 strikeouts so far on the day for Sage Marjeko.
And I was wondering when Marjeko was going to pull this out of her arsenal, and there it is, just pulling the string on that changeup. As a batter, having faced Sage Marjeko, when every pitch is coming in, it looks all through the same tunnel, so it's really hard. She doesn't give any cues of what pitch she's about to throw, so that one right there, you just have to try and keep your hands back and sometimes just try and tap it.
She's now struck out 4 out of the last 5 batters as she gets Amanda Lee to swing for strike 1. And it looks like Tennessee pitching coach Megan Rhodes-Smith going to call a quick timeout here. Maybe reset something, or don't think an illegal pitch or anything was called, but you clearly see Coach Smith pointing at the rubber.
Yeah, definitely. There's something going on with Sage Marjeko, maybe in her footing on the rubber. They're all rubber, and they're all 3 looking at it.
Our home plate umpire today, Easton Linton. Our first base umpire, Brad Sloan, and our third base umpire, Dave Reneker. Maybe the home plate umpire, Easton Linton, might have tipped Elsa Morrison off and said, hey, just keep an eye on something, maybe some communication there. But Coach Smith was also very quick to make her way to the circle.
Definitely, and with her recording the first 2 outs, you knew it wasn't any conversation about missing spots or something like that. And then Coach Megan Smith also moved the dirt around a bit. So wondering if Marjeko's comfortable with her foot positioning on the rubber.
And now the count has changed. So it looks like there was an illegal pitch called because Amanda Lee did swing at that first one. So now the count is 2-0. That would make sense why the meeting in the circle took place.
Which, Jill, I didn't see any of the umpires say anything to Marjeko or stick their arm out for an illegal pitch. So that was a tough one to tell.
Happened quickly, and now the count quickly goes 3-0 here to Amanda Lee. Ball 4. So after striking out 4 of the first 5 batters, Marjeko with an illegal pitch and now a free bag for Radford.
You can still see her kind of moving the dirt around at the mound, kind of digging her right foot a little bit deeper. And you wonder if the illegal pitch was her moving that front foot as she's coming off the mound. You can pick that front foot up as long as it doesn't come down in the same exact spot. And so I wonder if that was the illegal pitch call. But now this is 5 balls in a row for Marjeko, so something that's kind of throwing her game off a bit.
Hard grounder over to Faw, flipped to second, and the Lady Vols get the lead runner to retire the side. Sage Marjeko picks up her 4th strikeout. Lady Vols picking up the bats when we come back. Looks to pick up its 38th win of the season. Head coach Karen Weekly knows a thing or two when it comes to college softball programs. I think when you talk about the standard of college softball, Coach Weekly's over 2 decades is proof of where you want to be.
Definitely. She has evolved in her coaching career. She previously was coaching with her husband, Ralph Weekly, and then took over the program herself. And when you go from co-head coaches to coaching by yourself, it comes with some bumps in the road. But that very next year when she was able to get the team back to the Women's College World Series, so wasn't a problem for her to take it by herself. But you always see Coach Ralph Weekly walking around, kind of serves as her advisor at times.
He's always here. He's always here somewhere in Sherry Parker-Lee Stadium, usually with his clipboard, taking dubious notes.
I always wonder what exactly is he writing down, and when they get home, what does he tell Coach Karen Weekly?
Grounder over to Bechtel, able to get the out at one to retire Elsa Morrison. So one quick out for the Highlanders defense.
And this ball was hit really hard by Elsa Morrison, left over the plate. But because Bechtel kept moving forward, keeping the ball in front because of the speed of direction, she was still able to get Morrison out at one. So just a heads-up play. Oftentimes when players make a mistake, they don't continue to go after the ball. So just having her pitchers back and staying with it.
Taylon Hawley shows bunt, pulls back. Hawley, just a freshman in this lineup, riding a 6-game reached base streak. Has had a very nice start to April. It's made 19 starts in left field this season. Also 15 starts at the DH spot. Young talent, but also brings the power to the plate.
She does. She has some of the most calm at-bats on that left side of the box. And her takes, I really like how quiet she is.
Hawley drills this hard towards left field, but it drifts foul. She got a good piece of that one.
And going back to that young lineup with players like Tay Hawley, when you ask Karen Weekly about some of the adversity the lineup has faced, she said that she actually likes it because she wants it to happen now rather than in postseason. So players like Tay Hawley that might have hit a slump mid-season, they can learn from that. And when it gets tough in postseason, fall back on that preparation that they had during those times.
Lays off the rise, brings the count 3-1. She comes into tonight hitting 300, and to be able to have that batting average this deep into SEC certainly shows her maturity at the plate. 3-1 from Sabo. Low in the zone, ball 4.
And Jill, just that maturity once again that you were talking about with that at bat. Sometimes you get eager when you're in that hitter's count to have a hit, and so her take even on that one, you could tell not any bit of her body was moving forward towards the ball, so she wasn't going to chase anything out of the zone.
Second walk on the night for Sabo, but Riley, so far the contact that has come off of Sabo has really been minimal. Just a weak ground ball, 2 pop-ups. Lady Vols have yet to really barrel her up. Mackenzie Butt will try to change that here.
And I've really liked what Sabo's been doing on spotting the pitches on the corners. If she could just get ahead of more batters, I think she'll be even more successful, not putting runners on, making the base pass a little bit more hectic. But to your point, last inning, she was able to get out stranding 2 runners. And so that was a big inning. Sometimes that first inning in big stadiums like SEC stadiums, when you come from Radford, it can get your emotions higher. So for Sabo to get out of that first inning, that was a big deal for the team.
1 runner aboard for the Lady Vols, 1 down. 1-1 to Mackenzie Butt. Misses for ball 2. Mackenzie Butt, just a sophomore, transfer from Boise State. Big-time power hitter. Was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year a season ago when she launched 22 home runs and drove in 77 runs. Takes strike 2, evens the count 2-2.
And that's the pitch from Sabo that I've really been liking to right-handed batters on the inside corner. That's gotten a few weak grounders and pop-ups.
Count goes full. but pops this up towards right center. Crashing forward is the center fielder, Isabel Harrison, and she will make the grab for out number 2. So Madison Sabo able to get her 3rd pop-up of the game. And now 2 down with Bella Faw, the 9-hole hitter, at the plate.
She's doing a great job of hitting her spots right now. And you can tell with these towering pop-ups that Tennessee is just swinging right under them. And then, again, her defense having her back. Isabel Harrison communicating well, calling off the right fielder and second baseman Mally Graves, excuse me.
Faw hitting .244 this season. Had a good weekend against Kentucky, had 4 hits, 1 in each game against the Wildcats, including 2 on Monday's Game 3. That was a huge series for Tennessee, being able to pull off that sweep. Right now, Tennessee tied for 5th place in the SEC standings. Every single one of those wins is crucial. 0-2.
And sweeps in the SEC are extremely hard to do. You see it week in and week out. Even this past weekend, Oklahoma and Arkansas. Oklahoma ranked number 1 in the country. Lost 1 game to number 6 Arkansas. So when you get those sweeps, you really have to be proud of your team.
Faw fouls this one back. Count stays at 1-2. They are very rare in SEC play. But when you're able to complete that sweep, especially at home, can make a huge difference in the standings. And with Alabama coming to Rocky Top this weekend, Tennessee wants to get as many wins in the win column as possible. Gets her looking, strike 3. Madison Sabo strikes out the last batter and leaves another runner stranded.
And this has been her bread and butter all night long so far, is challenging right-handed batters on the inside corner. So far that this weekend is a big test for them, going against Alabama, ranked 2nd in the country, tied for 1st in the SEC. They have 2 great arms in the circle, and that will be kind of a test for them to go into postseason if they can get a series win from Alabama.
First pitch to Amber Wolf comes in as a strike. Marcheco facing 8-9-1 to start this 3rd inning. You bring up a great point. Tennessee's pitching staff having one of its best seasons in recent years. The question is, as we talk about Tennessee as a national contender, does Tennessee have the offense to back it up and the offense to get them back to OKC?
Yeah, and when you talk about winning championships, it starts with pitching and then having defense, and then you have to throw in that clutch hitting. And you have seen Tennessee's offense be clutch at times. It doesn't have to always be scoring a ton of runs. It has to be the hits at the right time. And so you've seen them throughout their season get better at that, especially Kentucky. A lot of runs scored, but being clutch when people are on base is when it matters. And so that's the question, and I think, like I said, Alabama will be a great test when they're not going to get as many opportunities against that pitching staff if they can score runs when people are on base.
Game 1 against Alabama will be here at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium on Saturday, but Lady Vols have to first take care of business. And Sage Marcheco is certainly doing exactly that, her 5th strikeout of the day.
She has a couple strikeouts on that curveball on the outside corner, but this time she goes to a low rise. It starts at the knee, kind of moves up to that upper thigh. So as a batter, you see that coming in, your eyes get big, and then you swing just under it. But that's what makes Sage Marcheco so good, is she's able to spot rise, curves, all at different levels.
Other than the walk last inning, she has been able to retire nearly every batter. And again, 5 strikeouts so far on the night for Marcheco, dealing in the circle on this Tuesday night. As the count evens 1-1 to Grace Bechtel. Bechtel, the shortstop, tied for most stolen bases on the team, so has a lot of speed. Went 1 for 5 this past weekend against Gardner-Webb. Able to hold off on that changeup. That's not an easy thing to do.
It isn't easy, and that was a great job. Sometimes your takes against really spinny pitchers might not look very pretty. You might have your hips go, your hands stay back, but as long as your eyes identify it on time, you can keep your at-bat going.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. Bechtel able to stay alive. Talking to Radford head coach Kevin Fagan, he talked to us about his hitters' approach at the box, and when you're going up against an elite pitching staff such as Tennessee's, you want to swing early, aggressive, just try to hit for contact. Not that time, sits her down, 6th strikeout of the night for Sage Marjetko.
And this time, Sage Marjetko goes in the bottom half of the zone. It looks like a drop ball, something that these Radford batters haven't seen yet. So she's just hitting all 4 quadrants, making it tougher as the game goes along. And if you're Radford at this point, you have to sit a side of the plate. I'm thinking either at the top half or bottom half of the zone and sit there. And when you get it, you have to go right for it.
Peyton Simmons fouls back the first pitch. Now that we are at the top of the lineup for the Highlanders, this is their 2nd look at Sage Marjetko. So as you alluded to, making those in-game adjustments is crucial if Radford wants to get on the board. Strike 2. Simmons struck out on that changeup, her first at bat to lead off this game, and now Marjetko ahead in the count 0-2. Gets a piece of that one, stays alive.
And we go back to the approach that Kevin Fagan told us his team needed to have. It was almost like a 2-strike approach from the very first pitch. You have to be short and quick to the ball, and like you mentioned, Jill, put it in play, make some contact, make Tennessee's defense move their feet and make plays.
Tennessee this season 5-1 in their midweek matchups. That one loss coming last week at the hands of Duke on the road, but have been 5-0 here at Sherry Parker Lee in midweeks. Low in the zone, brings a count 1-2. And you mentioned it earlier, Riley. You said this could be a potential trap game for Tennessee if they don't jump ahead early and often.
When you have a series like Alabama coming during the weekend, and that's conference play, that's what your whole focus is on, and then you have a midweek in the middle, you can have your eyes set on that game, and that's why it could be a trap game, is you're not focused at the task at hand, the pitch at hand, and you're worried about what's ahead.
Misses outside, evens the count 2-2. Simmons fouls this one off her foot. That one didn't look like it felt good. Most likely needs a moment here. It's been a great at-bat and a battle at the plate from Simmons, the leadoff hitter.
In both Simmons at-bats, first inning and now this inning, she has seen a ton of pitches. I mean, this one doing all she can, even fouling it into her own foot. And I've been there before. It does not feel good. But for her to continue to spoil pitches, yep, right there, that left foot immediately. She feels it.
She's been such an offensive catalyst for them this year. Team leading 404, team high 59 hits. She went 4 for 10 this past weekend against Gardner-Webb with 2 runs scored and has started all 44 games. We want to talk about the heart and soul of this lineup. And also one tough hitter as well, able to shake this one off.
Definitely, and you know her teammates in the dugout, when they see her go down with that ball off their foot, when she's the catalyst for the team, you want her to be in that box and battle it out.
2-2 pitch. Another foul ball.
Jill, she's making Sage Marjetko work.
A lot of her foul balls have been towards that first base line, so Marjetko coming in the last several pitches. Curious where she goes here. Freezes her on the outside corner. Sage Marjetko picks up her 7th strikeout and strikes out the side for the 2nd time tonight.
And Sage Marjetko going outside after she went all in during this at-bat to Peyton Simmons, getting her to freeze as we go to the bottom of the 3rd.
back from an illness. She missed the last 7 games. Now returns to her everyday leadoff spot. Was hit by a pitch, her first at-bat. Now looking to get things started for the Lady Vols here, top of the third. Bottom of the third, excuse me.
And always as a leadoff batter, that's your goal, to get something started. But Tennessee's problem this year has kind of been, once someone gets it started, is getting those runs in. And with the speed of Knight, it doesn't always take a ball over the fence to score her. Sometimes even a bloop single, she can get around those bases quick. But talking about her last at-bat, her first at-bat back after those 7 games, I was very impressed with her composure in the box, not going for those pitcher's pitches early and then taking what the pitcher gave her, which was a free pass.
And it looks like a new pitcher here for Radford as Natalie Jones steps into the circle. Knight drops a bunt. Not in time. Just like that, Sophia Knight uses her speed and sets the table for Tennessee.
And what a way to introduce a new pitcher to the game, then bunting it right back to her. A little bit of a hesitation from the third baseman, Amanda Lee, and also Jones, the pitcher. So with that hesitation and a lack of communication of whose ball it was, Sophia Knight easily makes it to first.
One aboard for Tennessee. Ella Dodge now looking to move over her teammate. Takes a rise ball for ball 1. Dodge drills this in the 3-4 hole. Knight turns on the jet, slides in safely to third, and Dodge stays put at first.
And just Ella Dodge, Sophia Knight jumping on this new pitcher, Natalie Jones, as soon as she gets in the game. Dodge gets a mistake pitch over the heart of the plate, and she's able to pull it to the right side. And with Sophia Knight's power, as soon as that ball was hit, she did not have any hesitation. She was going for 3. A great job, though, by Radford's defense and the shortstop, Grace Bechtel, to cut that ball off, not let it go all the way to third, to prevent Ella Dodge from then getting into scoring position with the 3-batter up, Alana Leach.
So now runners on the corners for Tennessee. The 3-hole hitter, Alana Leach, at the plate. Jones coming in this inning. Tough situation for Jones. She's only thrown an inning and a third this season, so not a ton of experience in the circle. Tough situation here for Jones as she goes up against the 3-hole hitter, Leach. Leach squares around, shows bunt. Dodge takes off for second, but Groves wisely cuts off the throw.
And just a good decision by Groves. This tight of a ball game, you know you're facing an elite pitcher on the other side of the ball, to be able to cut that ball off, not let a run score. And with Sophia Knight, if that ball goes all the way to second, she is going to score pretty easily. And Jill, going back to your point of a tough situation for Jones, hasn't pitched many innings. We talked to Coach Fagan about her. He said that she's probably going to be getting into the game today, and it's essential that she hits spots. She's a crafty righty, but where she gets in trouble is not being able to hit her spots.
Leach with the ground ball towards first. She will be out at 1, but she's able to bring home Sophia Knight. So 1 run on the board for Tennessee, thanks to the ground ball out from Leach.
And this ball, again, left over the heart of the plate, but Leach, understanding the situation, if she pulls a ball to the right side, the speed of Sophia Knight is going to score. But I have to shout out Abby Bossler there at first base, diving, laying out, keeping that ball in the infield, because if that gets down the line, that might be a triple for Leach, but also 2-run score for Tennessee.
Nice play from Bossler to keep it in the infield as the first pitch to Emma Clark comes in as a ball. Meanwhile, Ella Dodge able to move up to third. So you can see the Radford infielders several steps in, including the middle infielders. Pop up towards deep right field, drifting foul, and the catch will be made from Scott. But meanwhile, Dodge tags up and comes home to extend the Tennessee lead 2-0.
And And you've seen 2 hits by Tennessee that might not have been the hardest hits, but get the job done to the right side. Emma Clark, this outside pitch, she just let travel a little too far, but then Radford's right fielder, Scott, makes the play. And I do wonder, this early in the game, with the pitching staff that you have to face, if Scott should have let that drop. It could be a bit controversial because you do want outs when you're in the early innings of the game, but understanding that you're going against Sage Margetko on the other side, as a right fielder, I might have let that drop to prevent a run from scoring.
Very controversial thinking, especially so early in the game, but now there's 2 outs. Hard grounder from Gabby Leach over to Groves, and she makes the out at 1. So Highlanders able to get out of the inning, but Tennessee, meanwhile, pushes across 2 runs. Lady Vols on top, 2-0. Against Winthrop, the team that knocked him out of the Big South tournament in the semifinals last year. But both of these teams trying to build some momentum on this midweek matchup heading into their final stretch.
And both of those series mean a lot for those teams. Like you said, Radford knocked out by Winthrop in that semifinal, and then Tennessee knocked out by Alabama in that super regional. So this game is preparing both of them to go after teams that ended their season last year. And I just know Coach Kevin Fagan, they won that regular season. They really want to get to that tournament win so then they can get that automatic bid into the NCAA tournament.
Kevin Fagan knows a thing or two about coaching softball, but he also knows a thing or two about football. A 2-time Super Bowl champion, also national champion at the University of Miami. So it's safe to say Fagan knows a thing or two when it comes to success on the playing field. First pitch from Margetko misses for ball 1. As Isabel Harrison will look to lead things off here, top of the 4th, 2-3-4 due up for the Highlanders.
And going back to our conversation about Coach Fagan being a Super Bowl champion and a national champion, there is not many people who can say that they have won at the collegiate and the professional level. But for Radford as a team, to know that your coach has that much success and then has that success coming in his first year, you winning the regular season Big South, he is no stranger to winning at the highest level.
You also got the feel that he just loved being with these young women and being able to coach them in a positive way. He talked a lot about the previous coaching staff and a little bit of a negative atmosphere there. And when he came to Radford, the first thing was changing the culture in a positive way.
And you could definitely see that by their play last year. He said them getting into the groove. They were playing alongside each other, playing with each other, enjoying the game.
Big cut. This one gets away from Morrison, but able to get the out at 1. 1 down for Tennessee. Here's another look at this strikeout pitch from Margetko.
And look at that, just pulling the string on it. But Elsa Morrison, the catcher, doing a great job of keeping the ball in front. And then at the last second, Mackenzie Butt, she set up on the inside part of the bag, which gave her that throwing lane to be able to get the out. And also with the sun at this point of day at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium, it's very difficult for your first baseman to be able to see the ball. So just creating that lane, also dealing with the sun, they made that play look easy, but let me tell you, at this part of the day, it's a pretty difficult one.
Dakota Redmond swings and misses at the rise ball from Margetko. Redmond hitting .329 coming in today, struck out her last at bat. The two-way star for the Highlanders, also can get it done in the circle if need be. We may see her later on tonight since Highlanders are taking that pitch by committee approach. But right now, Margetko getting ahead on these hitters, second time through the lineup. Big cut for strike 3. Make that strikeout number 9 for Sage Margetko.
And last at bat to Redmond, she struck her out on a curveball, this time going on the inside corner. So Redmond having to protect both sides, and you can see with her swing right under the ball, just the spin that Margetko has on these pitches right now.
First pitch to Mally Groves comes in low in the zone for ball 1. Groves was the first hitter to get a piece of Margetko, popped it up into center field. as Marjeko tries to go with the changeup there, misses outside, brings the count 2-0.
And that's when we talk about of once you are on time and being able to put the ball in play, the next task is to be able to put the ball in play hard and get a hit out of it. And a lot of these Radford batters have been fouling balls off like that, and that might be the best pitch they see all game against Marjeko. So just being able to put it both together, pick out a pitch that you like, and then put your best swing on it.
Gets her on the rise ball. Count goes full.
And that was a great take by Mally Groves. That curveball in the outside corners worked for Sage Marjeko all night, and to be able to understand that it was just half a ball off the plate.
Marjeko was heavily recruited out of high school by Tennessee. And then after her freshman year at South Carolina, transferred to Rocky Top. Coach Weekly speaks so highly of her, says no one wants to win more than Marjeko. She has been a great addition to this staff the last 2 years. Groves gets a hold of this one deep towards left field, goes off the wall. Holly gets the throw in at third, and a huge double from Mally Groves off of a 2-2 count from Marjeko.
And Groves just was able to attack. You can see that pitch was supposed to be on the outside corner based on where catcher Elsa Morrison was set up. Left over the heart of the plate, and then she just stays level with Sage Marjeko's spin on top half of the ball. That almost had enough to get out the park, but then going back to Tay Hawley, the left fielder, she jumped at the last second rather than feeling the wall with her glove and then making that jump up. Because that ball was on a line, I got to give credit to Groves for hitting it hard enough where it was a tough play for Tay Hawley there in left field.
The first hit off of Sage Marjeko. It's a shot to left field, like you said, Riley, maybe a couple inches from going over, right on that orange line.
It was. You can see it hit right there. While we're in this replay, the umpires are challenging some part of this play. It might have been that the ball went out. It was hard to hear what their call was. Based on this, if they're reviewing if the ball hit that back black sign with the writing on it versus the orange, it looks like to me that it hit the orange part of the wall.
Marjeko had done a nice job retiring the majority of batters she faced. 10 of them, of her last 13 to be exact, but then Mally Groves, the freshman, coming up with the first of the day, a big double to put herself in scoring position for the Highlanders.
And she was the first one to put a ball in play, so definitely seeing it very well from that right side. And then when Sage Marjeko left a mistake over the pitch, she was able to take advantage.
The ruling on the field is it's not a home run. Radford has one challenge. Confirmed.
Here's one last look at this one, Riley.
And from this view, great job by our camera crew. It looked like it definitely hit the orange part of the wall, but having played on this field, the sound coming off the wall, it did sound a little bit different, like it potentially hit that railing in the back. So I don't blame Radford for challenging that.
First pitch to Haley Scott fouled back. I was just gonna say, Coach Fagan, nothing to lose on that one, right? The worst thing is she stays put at second base. Might as well challenge it just in case it was a home run for his team.
Definitely, and then with 2 outs, that was an important challenge, because if that was a home run, it puts you in a different position versus a runner on second with 2 outs. And Sage Marjeko, she hasn't let your team get much so far, so definitely trying to get everything you can with that challenge.
Runner in scoring position for the Highlanders. Arjeko in the dirt for ball 2. Count now 2-1 to Haley Scott. Struck out looking her last at bat. 2-2. An opportunity here for the Highlanders to try to cut the lead in half. Hard shot to left field, but right underneath it is Holly, and she will make the grab for the 3rd out. So Highlanders make some noise, but still trail Tennessee 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Top, Tennessee on top 2-0 over Radford, and a new pitcher in the circle for the Highlanders. Junior right-hander Morgan Cooper taking over. 3.27 ERA, making her 25th appearance on the season, just over 100 innings pitched, and she loves to spin the ball.
Yeah, she is one of those floaty, change-up and spinny up ball pitchers. So definitely an adjustment Tennessee is going to have to make of letting that ball travel and identifying it early. But we knew coming into this game after talking to Coach Fagan that he was going to use his entire staff. So I really like that every time this Tennessee lineup has had to come up, he is putting in a new pitcher so they were forced to make adjustments and not let them get comfortable in the box.
Elsa Morrison will be the first to face Cooper here, bottom of the 4th. Morrison grounded out to shortstop her last at-bat. Takes first pitch strike. Cooper's last outing came back in game 2 this past weekend in their series against Gardner-Webb. She pitched the complete game, allowing just 6 hits, 2 earned runs with 3 strikeouts. It's Morrison with a big cut for strike 2. Cooper also had an impressive outing in their game against Virginia Tech. Went 2 1/3 innings pitched, scattered 2 hits, no earned runs, and struck out 3. Goes upstairs, brings the count 1-2.
And there's that rise ball that we talked about that's nice and floaty. With 2 strikes, I love that location right at the eyes and higher, but she can also work it lower in the zone earlier in the count.
Two to Elsa Morrison. Outside, brings the count full. Morrison, take her free back.
And Cooper just coming into the game, sometimes it's hard to find that strike zone early on. She predominantly worked Morrison on the outside corner, but she did work up and down. But if she could just spot her curveball earlier in the count, her spin on the up part of the zone is very good and can get some of these Tennessee batters to chase.
The catcher, Amber Wolf, calling quick timeout to talk to Cooper. Also a pinch runner here for Tennessee, Zoe Schuler. Replaces Morrison, the catcher, at first. So some speed on the base path for Tennessee as they look to extend their lead here, bottom of the 4th with no outs. That will bring up the 7-hole hitter, Tay Holly. Walked her last at-bat. One of several freshmen in this Tennessee lineup. Takes first pitch strike. Holly has been fun to watch this season, especially throughout SEC play when she's logged more and more minutes in the lineup.
And she's done a great job in those pressure situations of being composed. I've been there before. Early in SEC play as a freshman, the bright lights, the big stadiums, it can be a bit intimidating, and her at-bats have just gotten better, like you said, Jill, the longer that she's played.
Hard grounder to first. Bossler able to make the play, step on the bag for out number 1 as Schuler moves up to second.
And Bossler's been busy there at first base with these left-handed batters turning on an inside pitch. But what she's done well is keeping the ball in front. She laid out earlier in the game. This one gets a glove on it. And because she's at first base, she can stay just cool, calm, and collected, pick up for the out.
Tennessee now with a runner in scoring position, and Mackenzie Butt at the plate. Popped up to center her last at-bat. Cooper able to catch the outside corner with a curveball for strike 1.
And the difference between that first at-bat where she walked Elsa Morrison and then Tay Hawley getting her to ground out is she started early with that horizontal plane, that screwball on the outside corner to Tay Hawley, and then this one, a curveball to Mackenzie Butt. So she can continue to hit those spots. That's what disrupts the timing of a batter, is those different zones and effective velocities.
But grounds this one foul.
And another good spot by Morgan Cooper. That drop ball down in the zone, especially on the outside corner, but tried to pull it so it got off the end of her bat. So as she settled in a little bit more, she's doing a better job of hitting those spots.
Just misses there. As the count now 2-2 to Mackenzie Butt. Tennessee able to push across 2 last inning. Now with the runner in scoring position, trying to extend its lead. Did she hold up? No, she did not. Dave Reneker says she went. So that is strike 3 and the first strikeout for Cooper.
And Cooper going back on that inside pitch, that screwball. And that was a good job by the third base umpire to catch that with his bare eye, because to me it didn't look like Mackenzie Butt went, but after that replay, she did cross over home plate.
Crucial second out for the Highlanders as Bella Faw fouls back the first pitch. Highlanders have used 3 pitchers so far today, and for the most part, Riley, with the exception of the 2 runs last inning, staff has done a nice job trying to simmer down the bats of Tennessee.
And even those 2 runs that were scored, it wasn't some home run, some line drive shot in the gaps. It was actually a bunt that led to a ball hit to the right side where first baseman Abby Bossler laid out, and then a foul ball RBI from Emma Clark. So if you're Radford right now in the staff, you have to be confident that your stuff is working and you're not getting hit hard.
Bella Faw with big cut for strike 2. Wouldn't be a stretch to say that it would be a small victory here for the Highlanders if they're able to get out of this inning unscathed. On the flip side, if you're Tennessee, the offensive bats have been there at times throughout the season, but then at other times they've struggled to get going. And sometimes they've had to wait a little bit, waiting on that one person to come through. It kind of feels a little sluggish tonight. Fogg gets it on the end of her bat to the roller over to Groves, and she makes the out at 1. So Highlanders able to escape the threat as Tennessee leaves 1 on. We head to the top of the 5th. Tennessee on top, 2-0. Like a beautiful night on Rocky Top for some softball and a great crowd here at Sherry Parker Lee, especially with this kind of weather. How can you not come out to the ballpark on a night like this?
Absolutely. This is as good as it gets. You can see in the outfield that bleachers filled up, and it's hard to believe this is only a Tuesday night. And with these Tennessee fans, I know they're eager for this weekend at Sherry Parker Lee Stadium, and you know it is a sold-out crowd all 3 days, and they're just ready for that Alabama Crimson Tide to get in here. But first things first, you always take care of that midweek as a team, and I definitely know that's the conversation in that Tennessee dugout right now of, yes, they are ahead, but Karen Weekly wants to see them score more runs and have some lockdown defense behind Sage Margetco.
Tennessee trying to take care of business on this Tuesday night, and Margetco has certainly taken care of business so far tonight. First pitch to Amanda Lee comes in as a ball. Marchetko, so far 9 strikeouts. She's retired 12 of the 14 batters she's faced so far tonight.
And I think if you're Radford last inning, there was a double by Mally Groves. You have to learn from that and continue to build upon that. Of you're facing elite staff, but elite staff, they still make mistakes, and being prepared for that one mistake left over the heart of the plate.
Lee swings and misses for strike 2. This is the second time through the lineup. You've mentioned earlier about picking up Marchetko, whether she goes outside, inside. What other adjustments you want to see these Highlanders make?
A lot of swings and misses from Radford has been under the ball. That's more up in the zone. So I think one thing that Mally Groves did last inning was she was level with the pitch. So I think that Radford hitters just need to get on playing with every ball any way that they can.
Lee rolls this one over towards third. Clark with a throw, but not in time. Amanda Lee with some speed leads the team in stolen bases with 12. She certainly put her speed to the test here.
And this a pitch on the outside corner, so off the end of Lee's bat. But Emma Clark, she hasn't played third that much this year. Maddie Rutan plays a lot of third, and with that play, you can kind of tell that she didn't read the speed and direction off the bat. Clearly, she should have came in on the run to make that throw. She set her feet more, and that was the difference between safe and out.
Grounder over to Dodge at second, gets the out at 2, far, unable to complete the double play, but Tennessee still able to get the lead runner out as Abby Bossler stays at first.
And Sage Marchetko just rolling a ground ball after the first batter, Amanda Lee, got on. And Ella Dodd doing a great job of fielding the ball, not moving her feet, but turning her body to be able to get that lead out. And going back to Sage Marchetko, when someone gets on base, when she gives up a hit or a walk, a free pass of some sort, she's elite because she goes right after that next batter, thinking about the next play. And when you can limit damage to one at a time in scattered hits, it doesn't matter if they do get a hit or not, as long as you're able to get the next out.
Goes low in the zone. Ball 2 to Amber Wolf. Wolf struck out her last at-bat in the 3rd inning. Opportunity here for the Highlanders. Top of the 5th with a runner on. Wolf takes another ball. Four straight balls from Marchetko.
And a lot of those pitches were borderline, but that's just a great eye by Wolf, not falling victim to swinging at a pitch that's on the corner of the plate just because it might look good coming in, but to trust your eyes and the umpire's zone behind you.
Might have a pinch runner here for Radford. As Coach Fagan takes a moment, talks to the umpire, and we will. So looks like Abby Bossler will come out. And a pinch runner, Emma Salzman, coming in at second. Look at the Tennessee bullpen as Peyton Hardenberger is warming up.
And definitely a spot for Radford right now. 2 runners on. You haven't had this much success in the game against Sage Marchetko, so if you're Coach Kevin Fagan, this is the time that you need that clutch hitting.
Running for a second on Radford, number 40, and
You have to feel like this is a big moment in the game here for Radford. Trying to cut into the lead. As first pitch to Grace Bechtel comes in as a ball.
And with that being the 5th ball in a row, Sage Marchetko walked Amber Wolf in 4 pitches before. You have to be ready if you're Bechtel in the box for that mistake pitch over the plate and attack it.
Catches the outside corner for strike 1. Brings the count now 1-2.
That's a good swing by Bechtel, but we've talked about it throughout the game of the challenge of hitting it fair because of the spin on Sagemore Jetco's pitches.
Grounder over to Bella Fa. Quick throw, and it's in time. Nice on-the-run play from the shortstop.
And that walk came to the first batter that she faced, Elsa Morrison. But after Elsa Morrison, she settled down and did a great job of hitting spots.
Hard slap over to the left side of the field. That's a base hit for Sophia Knight.
And we mentioned earlier in the game, Sophia Knight missed 7 games due to an illness, but you have not been able to tell. This time she just insides out a pitch to the left side. This is just a slapper's bread and butter, being able to chop it on the hard dirt. But Sophia Knight doesn't look like she missed a single game the way she's been on base all night.
Picking up where she left off, and now speed on first base for Tennessee, and Ella Dodge to the plate. Dodge, first pitch, pops it up behind home plate. That will stay foul. Dodge able to single her last at bat. 1 for 2 with a hit and a fielder's choice, also a run scored. Tennessee able to tack on 2 back in the third, trying to add some insurance here. Lays off the rise.
And having played for Karen Weekly, I know that's exactly the message coming in, is that the team needs more runs any way they can to scratch a few more across, so you don't go into those later innings just up by 1 run.
Time is called behind the plate, as Coach Weekly will take a moment to talk to Dodge here. Make sure they're on the same page. Meanwhile, Radford's defense also gather up. Similar to last inning, Riley, you get the feel this is a huge moment in the game here. Bottom of the 5th. Tennessee only up by 1, but with their fastest player on first base, this is a huge opportunity for Tennessee to extend its lead.
And kind of by the body language with Karen Weekly and Ella Dodge there during that timeout, you got the sense that Karen Weekly was trying to hone Ella Dodge in on a plan to be able to be successful. This top of the lineup has been the way that Tennessee gets going throughout the entire year, and being able to pass the bat is what she's looking for.
Big cut on the changeup for strike 2.
And I love that pitch by Morgan Cooper, the first changeup that she's pulled out in this game, and she's a floatier pitcher that really relies on that changeup. So the kind of her second inning being able to bring a different speed that Tennessee hasn't seen.
Evens the count 2-2 here to Ella Dodge. Dodge, one of the most clutch hitters in this lineup for Tennessee, leads the team with 43 RBI. Also hitting .357 with runners on the bases. Dodge skies this towards shallow center. Calling for it is Harrison, and she will make the grab. A crucial first out for Radford's defense.
It definitely is against the hitter that Ella Dodge has been this entire year. But I've been loving the communication by Radford's defense, especially Isabel Harrison there in center field. I love that all 3 players are going for the ball, and then at the last second, the communication allows them to back away. And Isabel Harrison, we've seen that play twice with these towering fly balls.
Alana Leach takes ball high and inside. Leach grounded out to first base. Her last at-bat also drew a walk back in the first inning. Tennessee has turned to Alana Leach several times throughout the year to get things going offensively. She takes a strike low in the zone, evens the count 1-1. Leads the team with 11 home runs, also had a solo home run over the right field wall in their game against Duke last week. This one gets her.
And Leach hasn't been in the lineup the whole year. Later, she's had some of these really great at-bats. This one just comes inside on her, being selfless, taking it, becoming another base runner. But going back to Leach in the season that she's had, she wasn't an everyday starter earlier in the year, and she got kind of some opportunities, and she started to force Karen Weekly to write her name in the lineup based on the at-bats she was having. And she worked herself all the way up to that 3-hole and has been seeing the ball really well here lately.
McCall Sims will be the pinch runner at first for Alana Leach, but to continue the conversation with Leach, she really broke out in conference play in that Ole Miss series, hit 444, 500 on base percentage that series, and I feel like the last several conference series she's been able to build off that weekend.
She has. In that Ole Miss series, she had 2 home runs in 1 game. And that just developed her confidence. And you can see in the box, even when she has a take, like earlier in that at-bat, she took a changeup down in the count. She kind of just shrugged her shoulders and moved on from it. And so just that maturity from her freshman year all the way now to her junior year, you can see a big difference in the at-bats that she's having.
First pitch to Emma Clark outside for ball 1. Clark had the sac fly her last at-bat, also popped up to left field. Hard shot to left field, but right into the glove of Simmons. What a play! Peyton Simmons comes up with arguably the biggest catch of the game.
What a play. Emma Clark got almost all of this ball, and Simmons immediately first step back, retreats, and then kind of just jumps at it. Wow, that was a really important play with runners on base. If that gets over her head, hits off the wall, that's 1, maybe 2 runs in for Tennessee. But Jill, let me tell you, this Radford defense has been impressive tonight. Blocking balls, keeping them in front, always sticking with them. But Simmons, that might have been the play of the game, being able to save some runs from coming across the plate.
So now 2 down for the Highlanders defense, 2 runners on, and Gabby Leach at the plate. Highlanders certainly not making it easy on this Tennessee offense tonight. Leach pops up towards left field. Simmons underneath it and will make the 2nd straight put out for the Highlanders. 2 runners left on for Tennessee. And now Radford picking up the bats here as we head to the top of the 6th. Parker Lee Stadium, beautiful night for some softball on this Tuesday night midweek matchup between the 9th-ranked Tennessee Lady Vols and the Radford Highlanders. Alongside Riley West, I'm Jill Jelnick, and Riley, we have ourselves a ball game, top of the 6th. Highlanders keeping it close, able to push one across last inning, and now trying to keep it going here, top of the 6th.
And they're getting better and better as the game goes on against Sage Margetco. But Jill, this year has been a crazy year for midweek games, especially against these SEC teams. You saw last week, Alabama lost a game to Samford, who was unranked, and now Tennessee only up by 1 to an unranked Radford. So these midweek games, these mid-major universities are really challenging these SEC teams, and I absolutely love it. Just good softball every single day of the week.
And that's indicative of the sport, right? Anyone can beat anyone on any given day. And when you have these midweek matchups, sometimes your mind is elsewhere. Sometimes you're looking ahead to the next series, whether it's Alabama this weekend for Tennessee or Winthrop for Radford. You got to stay in the moment, and Highlanders have done a nice job of that so far. First pitch to Isabel Harrison comes in as a ball. 2-3-4 due up here for the Highlanders. Harrison 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts as Sage Margetco returns to the circle for Tennessee. Goes inside for strike 1, evens the count 1-1. Margetco has had a nice outing so far tonight, has scattered just 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Goes right back to the same spot for strike 2.
And throughout this game, Isabel Harrison, she struck out on a curveball and a change, and now Sage Margetco just honing in on that inside pitch, so making it really hard for her to decide what part of the plate she's going to sit on.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 10 on the night for Sage Margetko.
And Sage Margetko, just as dynamic as it gets, working all 4 quadrants. I mentioned earlier, Isabel Harrison struck out on a curveball in the outside corner and then a changeup. This time hones in on that strike on the inside corner, that screw, and then Sage Margetko goes up for a rise ball on the inside. So if you're a Radford hitter right now, you have to attack early in the zone so you're not at the mercy of Sage Margetko's pitcher's pitches. But Jill, it is harder than it looks when she's on both sides of the plate to be able to have the perfect timing for both sides.
Dakota Redmond fouls off that one to get behind in the count 0-2. What adjustment can you make, especially on that rise ball that has been her go-to for a couple of these recent strikeouts?
You have to attack early. She hasn't been throwing it as much early in the count. She's using it as her strikeout pitch. And so when you attack early, you're not putting yourself in a position to have to identify and leave it alone or hold up on your swing.
A pinch hitter here for Radford as Lyles comes to the plate. Excuse me, Layla Miles pinch hitting for Dakota Redmond in the 3 spot. Able to lay off the rise that time. That will bring the count 2-2. Miles with just 15 at-bats this season, 3 hits. Brings the count full.
But as a young player, being able to get this experience against an elite pitcher like Sage Margetko and then taking it to a 3-2 count. I know Kevin Fagan is happy with this at-bat from the freshman.
Takes her walk. So runner on board for Radford as now the meat of the lineup comes up for the Highlanders. Molly Groves looks to get something going here for the Highlanders.
And you can see Sage Margetko took off her mask. Pitching coach Megan Smith is running down to the bullpen, so we might be getting a pitching change here. But at the time that Molly Groves is coming up to the plate, and last at bat Molly Groves had was that double to left field. So if there's a time for Radford to get something going to be able to tie this ball game or get ahead, this is definitely the time.
Sage Margetko's day is done, and now her teammate Carlin Pickens will take over in the circle. And right away, Riley, you hear the crowd cheering for Margetko. She had an excellent night so far, went 5 1/3, scattered 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, and 10 strikeouts.
What a phenomenal outing it was for Sage Margetko. And I definitely know that if Tennessee put up more runs on the board, she would stay in this game after that walk. Just a tough situation to be in. You have to change things up, especially when a batter who's had success off of you comes up to the plate again. But now Radford, a challenge ahead of them with Carlin Pickens.
Pickens, the 2-time SEC Pitcher of the Year, 2-time All-American and the hardest thrower in the game, steps into the circle. She was recently just named the Tennessee Female Student Athlete of the Year this week. And her team, the softball team, able to bring home the Smoky Cup. So it's been a week of success for Tennessee, as now they will look to Pickens to try to continue the momentum here in the circle.
You mentioned the awards, but I think if you talk to Carlin Pickens, she would probably say these awards don't mean anything. I just want to win in the circle and have my team win a ball game. And she's no stranger to these type moments. She's come in a lot throughout the season with a 1-run lead and been able to shut teams down. But the last time she pitched was against Duke in their midweek last week that they lost, and she only pitched 5 pitches. Duke was really jumping on her hard stuff, and a home run ended up knocking her out the game.
First pitch to Groves upstairs. They said she did swing on the pitch, so it was a quick strike 1 for Pickens. Grounder over to third, the play at 2. It's in time for the out, but unable to complete the double play, so Clark able to get the lead runner. And Pickens able to retire the first batter she sees.
And that play was pretty close. Emma Clark didn't really charge it that much. And I do think that runner, Layla Miles, could have been safe if she went feet first into her slide to second. She went head first, and sometimes your momentum slows down even more. But just a great job by Pickens coming into the game and immediately rolling a ground ball, letting her defense play behind her.
Inside to Haley Scott. Pickens most recently had the start against Duke. As you mentioned, Riley only went 5 pitches. Gave up that 3-run home run before Sage Marjeko came on in relief. Before that, she threw her 4th career no-hitter in Game 1 against Kentucky, struck out 12 and walked 1 in that win. So an interesting situation here for Pickens. She's done excellent this back end of the season since she's recovered from her injury, but also the tough outing against Duke, a chance here tonight for her to get back into a rhythm.
Yeah, earlier this year, she got injured in a midweek game versus Belmont and then was out for about 10 days. And coming back, you kind of seen some ups and downs within her season of having some great outings like that no-hitter and then one where she struggles. And the difference has kind of been being able to spot and locate her changeup. Everyone in the country knows Carlin Pickens can throw hard, and so a lot of teams have been able to catch up to that speed and prepare for that speed. And what makes her most dynamic is going to that changeup and rise. And when she hasn't been able to spot it, that's where she's had some trouble.
Amanda Lee takes one right down the middle for strike 1. Evens the count 1-1. 2 runners aboard for the Highlanders here, top of the 6th. Swing and a miss. One-two from Pickens. Slow roller towards second, dodge, gets the out at 1 to end the inning. So Highlanders leave 2 aboard as Pickens does quick work here, top of the 6th. Lady Vols picking up the bats when we come back. The 4th pitcher of the day here for the Highlanders in the circle, Abby Peace, making just her 6th appearance of the season. We'll try to simmer down the bats of the Tennessee Lady Vols.
And I love Coach Fagan from Radford's plan coming into this Tennessee lineup was to pitch all of his arms. And this time Abby Peace gets the ball, and she has a lot of movement, Coach Fagan told us, but her job is to command the zone with that movement. When she commands the zone, she is on, and she gets a lot of weak contact. So just looking for her to hit spots and hit spots early.
Weak contact is something we've seen throughout the game from the various different pitchers. Not a lot of hard contact from the Tennessee Lady Vols lineup tonight, as Elsa Morrison takes the first pitch and is looking to change that. Morrison walked her last at bat, grounded out to shortstop back in the 2nd. Takes ball 2.
And Jill, you're right, there really hasn't been many hard hits. One of those that comes to mind is that Emma Clark one that Peyton Simmons in left field made a phenomenal catch on. And so if you're Radford, you have to trust the defense behind you because they're making plays, but also trust your stuff because it is working. There's been a ton of towering fly balls and weak ground balls, and they're doing a great job of hitting their spots.
Last inning with Morgan Cooper. Yes, there was that hard line drive towards left field that Simmons made a great play on, but also 2 pop-ups and a grounder. Now a runner aboard here for Tennessee, bottom of the 6th.
And that's Elsa Morrison's 2nd walk of the game. And she's just been having a great eye. Karen Weekly talks about her maturity as a freshman being thrown into these big situations. Whether that be in the SEC showdowns Friday night or midweeks when you need that run or someone to get aboard. But she says that her attitude never gets too high or too low based on her performance. She is just steady throughout it.
First pitch to Taylon Hawley down the middle for strike one. Taylon Hawley 0 for 1 with a walk. Hitting .300 coming into tonight in the 7-hole spot for Tennessee. Gets a hold of this one deep towards left field. Simmons tracking it and will make the grab. There's another example of those towering pop-ups that seem to be a trend tonight for the Tennessee hitters.
And it's because they haven't really made an adjustment with the speed of the pitchers coming in. Abby Peace, she's a lot of movement, but she doesn't overpower you with her speed. So when these pop-ups are happening, it's because these Tennessee batters are immediately going towards the ball, and then their hands are dropping below the pitch, and it's causing them to hit under it and the ball spin off of their bat.
First pitch to Mackenzie Butt outside. When you are that far ahead of the pitcher and trying to catch up the speed, what's the adjustment you make in the box?
If I'm in the box, I'm honestly going to try and hit the hardest ground ball possible. Ground balls don't fail you. It's really hard for teams to put a glove on them. And so if I miss on a ground ball a little bit under it, that's going to be a line drive. So my goal is going to be to be top half of a slower, spinnier pitcher, so that if I fail under, it's going to be a line drive to the outfield.
Elsa Morrison able to advance 60 feet from the pass ball as Butt fouls this one off. So runner in scoring position here for Tennessee, an opportunity for the Lady Vols to try to extend their lead, bottom of the 6th. Low in the zone, ball 3. Mackenzie Butt, a transfer from Boise State, big-time power hitter. Just a sophomore, has come in clutch several times throughout the year in pinch hit situations, also late in games for Tennessee. Rolls one over to third. It's going to be Fairley, the throw at 1, and it's in time.
And a really good pitch by Abby Peace. 3-1, getting Mackenzie Butt to kind of swing out the zone a little bit on that borderline pitch, getting another slow ground ball. You can see Karen Weekly coming to talk to the umpire after this pitch, it being a pinch hitter, Meredith Barnhart, it looks like down there. So just fresh eyes seeing a new pitcher with a runner on second base. Meredith Barnhart has done a great job coming in all year, and she hits a lot of balls up the middle. So a ball up the middle right now can score Elsa Morrison there at second base.
The freshman out of Parker, Colorado, trying to get a 2-out rally going here for Tennessee with a runner on second. Big cut for strike 1. Back in Tennessee's midweek matchup against Kennesaw State, she was able to pinch hit, was able to come up with a hit, a run, also an RBI in their win against Kennesaw State. She takes changeup for strike 2.
And Abby Peace on the other side doing a great job of attacking this pinch hitter. As a pitcher, when someone hasn't seen you and hasn't swung a bat since warm-ups, you have the advantage. So I love that she's going right at Meredith Barnhart, not letting her settle in. Outside, ball 1. For Barnhart at the plate, a situation like this, runner on second, 2 outs, what's your mindset? I'm going to attack that first pitch, and Meredith Barnhart, she did swing at that first pitch. So I do like that she helped herself get even more on time. But now with 2 strikes, I'm going to get my foot down a little bit earlier to identify the ball. And then if I have to foul pitches off and work the count, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Barnhart rips it, but right into the glove of Bechtel. So Highlanders able to evade the threat. Tennessee leaves a runner on thanks to some great defense tonight from Radford.
And there again, Radford having their pitchers back, line drive right to Bechtel in the right spot. Now down by one going into the bottom of, or excuse me, the top of the first. This is a chance for them to really pick it up.
Relief for Sage Marjeko last inning. Get 3 quick outs. Pickens looking to pick back up where she left off. Also potentially build some momentum going into the big SEC series this weekend against Alabama.
And definitely that's what they're trying to do, bringing Carlin Pickens in to shut this Radford offense down, but also get her a few innings going into that Alabama series where you know Alabama, they're ranked second in the country. You're going to need every single player on your team to be able to solidify a series win.
Pickens most recently suffered the loss to Duke last week, came in, started that game, gave up the 3-run home run before Sage Marjeko took over. And before that, though, had her 4th career no-hitter, and that's kind of been the tale of the tape this season for the senior Carlin Pickens.
Yeah, this has been one of those years where teams are really prepared for you as the ace. And as one of the faces of college softball right now, everyone knows Carlin Pickens has the world record for the fastest pitch. So a lot of teams have been on time with her hard. And so it's really been having to challenge that off-speed pitch. And when she has it and she's on, those are the games when you have the no-hitters.
Has recorded the fastest pitch in the history of the sport, 79.4 miles per hour. She picks up 2 quick strikes on Abby Bossler. That's 79.4 miles per hour. That's equivalent to 111 mile per hour fastball in baseball.
Just something that I always say you have to try and cheat on. As soon as you get that front foot down, you have to cheat with your hips so you can get your barrel out in front. If you sit and wait and you decide late, you don't have a chance to catch up with her ball.
Gets her swinging for strike 3. Pickens picks up her first strikeout of the night.
And Pickens just staying down in the zone. Her bread and butter is that drop ball down, that 70 plus. Just getting Bossler out in front of that one. Like I mentioned, you have to cheat, but you also have to try and identify the ball at the same time. So just a big challenge against Pickens.
Radford down to its final 2 outs. Amber Wolf fouls back the first pitch from Pickens. Wolf 0 for 1 today with a strikeout and a walk. Radford has done an excellent job tonight, keeping it close to Tennessee. Able to push across one in that 3rd inning.
And it was really close to pushing across 2 runs. But Elsa Morrison, the catcher, was able to pick a throw coming home and put the tag on the runner. But if you're Radford, whether you come out of this with a win or a loss, you have to be very proud of your team and the fight that they had, and keeping this close with this Tennessee lineup that they've had to face, as well as the pitching staff.
Wolf pops this one towards the right side, but at the dugout, unable to make the grab. Or excuse me. Here's a replay of that one.
And it looks like Tennessee
Emma
made some
Clark,
defensive
yes,
changes. Usually Karen Weekly does this later in the game, putting her best defense out there. But Emma Clark, she was playing 3rd earlier, then had to go on the other side of the field. You can tell it was a little bit of a challenge on that pop-up. Could have been the very tail end of that sun going down.
Leach makes the grab in right field for out number 2. So now the Highlanders down for their last out, but to kind of put a button on the conversation, Riley. Highlanders able to hold Tennessee to just 2 runs tonight. They pushed across the 1 run in the 5th. If you're head coach Kevin Fagan, you got to be pretty pleased with the performance tonight.
Absolutely, especially when you look and you see that Tennessee is number 9 in the country. And going into Big South play, especially your tournament coming up soon, you have to go back to this game and understand that you can compete at the highest level. So when you're competing for that tournament championship to get your bid into postseason, you have to have the confidence that you can compete with any team.
Pinch hitter here for Radford as the sophomore infielder Clara Van Bueg comes to the plate. Out of Littleton, Colorado, coming into tonight hitting .269. As the Highlanders are down to their final out. Take strike one. Tough situation to come into, not only just as a pinch hitter, but also when you're going up against the hardest thrower in the sport.
Exactly, because you haven't, as a pinch hitter, been able to get a swing off since warm-ups. And so when you come in, you're dealing with the 70 plus, as well as understanding that you want to attack early. So just like you said, Joel, a tough situation to be in, but you have to have confidence that your coach puts you in there for a reason in this part of the game.
Pickens paints the outside corner for strike two. Evens the count 2-2 now. Hard grounder over to third. The play one, and it's in time. Tennessee gets the 2-1 win over Radford on this Tuesday night. Picks up their 38th win of the season.
And Carlin Pickens getting this final out, just spotting a ball, her hard and fast, like I said, her bread and butter. And then Maddie Rutan, one of those defensive subs coming in late in the game. And Tennessee just wanting to take this momentum into their series against Alabama this weekend. We've talked about it all game. A big series, but it always starts with a task at hand, which was a win over Radford.
With the win, Tennessee improves to 38-7 overall. Tough loss for Radford. But if you're head coach Kevin Fagan, you have to be pleased and also feeling good about your team against a top 10 team going into the final conference series this weekend.
I know if I'm a Radford player or coach Kevin Fagan, I'm extremely pleased with the effort that my team made tonight. They used their entire pitching staff, and when you get later into the season, a lot of innings on your number ones or your ace's arm, you want to continue to use your whole staff because you want to throw the timing and disrupt the timing of opposing offenses. So definitely a strategy that they will be using if they can make it into the NCAA tournament.
Tennessee on top, 2-1 on this Tuesday night. Lady Vols will try to keep it going into their big SEC series this weekend against Alabama. Game one set for 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. That will do it for us here at Sherry Parker Lee. For my wonderful partner, Riley West, our amazing crew of Austin Taylor, our producer, and our graphics crew, Gianna Fernandez and Anna Estes. I am